Hi guys, just Charlie here from Sterling. All I'm doing now is going to introduce the jump start assistance feature that we're slowly introducing into this range here of battery to battery chargers. It'll come through in trickles over the next few months. I'm talking as of the 3rd of January, so by spring most of the B2Bs that look like this should have the jump start assistance feature built in, along with the standard reverse charging feature also. So anything that says bidirectional on it going forward will all have the jump start assistance feature and the reverse charging capability. Now, what is it? Well, essentially it's a mode that you can put the battery to battery charger into that will backfeed from your service battery or your leisure battery. Let's say you've got over 11 volts in your leisure battery and it'll work down to 5.5, 6 volts on the input battery. It's a way of taking energy out of one battery, your leisure battery, and putting it into your start battery to aid with cranking of your engine. Now, because this is a BB12-200, it's got about 60 amps of reverse charging current. The smaller ones have lower charging currents. The little 40 amp has a 20 amp reverse charge. The 70 amp model has a 20 amp reverse charge. The 120 has a 40 amp reverse charge, and this 200 has a 60 amp reverse charge. So it's more of a reverse charger that assists with cranking. It's not the equivalent of using 2 jump leads. It won't dump 300-400 amps into your start battery. It's a routine whereby you simply press the select button 4 times and it puts juice from one battery that's higher into a battery that's lower. That's all it's doing. You might have to wait 1, 2, 3 minutes before you crank. Doesn't matter. Just press the button 4 times. It will put juice into the start battery and then try cranking in 2 or 3 minutes time. I would recommend leaving the mode on whilst you're cranking. There's no harm in doing that. Every little bit helps just to get the engine going. So here we've got a voltmeter, so I can tell you the voltages, and an ammeter that will show you the current. So let's see what we've got here on the input. So we've got 10.14 volts start battery, and we've got a 12.27 volt leisure battery. So all I'll do now is press the button 4 times and we'll engage reverse charging. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And you'll know when it's engaged because the reverse charging LED illuminates. And if you've got the remote control connected, it will also say reverse on it. We're drawing 63 amps from the leisure battery, and our start battery is now climbing up to, what's that, 11.9. And just to demonstrate the current actually going in to the lithium battery, I'll just put it around this cable here. So it's putting in 62 and a half amps or so. Now, what will happen is your start battery will fill up slowly at the tune of about 60 amps with this bigger model. Now, give it a couple of minutes, let it charge up, and then try cranking it. Fine. Now, we put a 20-minute timer on here, so you can either wait 20 minutes for the start battery to charge up. After 20 minutes, or what will happen is the reverse charging LED will turn off, the reverse feature will turn off, and it will just revert back to the way it was before. And then you can simply press the button 4 times again to re-engage the jump start assist feature. If you don't want to wait 20 minutes and you've already got the engine running, after 2 or 3 minutes, simply press the select button once, the reverse charge LED turns off, and the current drops to 0 amps. If it's not quite enough and you want to do it again, 1, 2, 3, 4, reverse charging LED comes back on, and we're up to 60, 70 amps going into the start battery. And yeah, and you can just do that as many times as you like. I'd recommend, if you're relying on this as a as a means of survival, I would recommend either changing your start battery, or you've got a parasitic load on the start battery. in which case you need to investigate what it is that's taking your start battery down to such a low voltage every time. What else was I going to say? I was also going to say, yes, it works down to 6 volts. So this battery was at 10 volts. That's because it's lithium, but it's okay for this demonstration. But this will work down to 6 volts on the input, provided those LEDs can come on, because it needs about 5 volts to run the processor inside there. It will work, and it will pull that down to maybe 10.5, 11 volts on the output. So provided you've got about 11 volts here and about 5 or 6 volts here, this system will work. I mean, I'm now pulling 72 amps out of my leisure battery and putting it into my start battery. So I'll just turn it off again. So I push the button and it's just switched itself off. And like I say, you can do that as many times as you like, or just wait for the 20 minutes to turn on. All right. Now, if you've got an ignition feed going into here, when you turn your ignition feed on, the unit will carry on reverse charging. It doesn't disable the reverse charging because, of course, just because it's got a live ignition doesn't necessarily mean you've got your engine running. All it means is you've got your ignition on. So you do need to be proactive in ensuring that once you've got your engine running, to come down and either push the button to turn it off, or if you're prepared to wait for the remaining of that 20-minute timer, then do so. But you do need to be proactive if you want this thing to revert back to normal. Just by turning that off, it will turn the reverse charge feature off, the jump start feature off, and then if you've got a live ignition, it will fire back up and just charge in the left to right direction as normal. The jump start feature overrides everything. So if you're in the middle, even if you're in the middle of charging from A to B, from left to right, and you press that button 4 times, it will stop what it's doing and put charge in the other direction. All right, thanks.